Hey everybody, today on Archery Farm we're going to talk about tying a D-loop. We're going to get a close-up view of the knot and how to tie it. So the first step is cutting your piece of D-loop. I've already cut mine here. The length to cut them is very important. I like mine somewhere between 4 1/4 and 4 1/2 inches depending on what I'm trying to achieve. I've started here with a 4 1/2 inch piece of D-loop rope and we're going to start with that. Once you got it cut, you need a lighter, you got your rope, you just want to flare out the end of that rope, just like that, a nice fluffy end. That's going to help when you melt the end. It's going to get a nice ball, solid ball of melted string on the end. Try not to light it on fire. Just get it hot. And then just gently push down to flatten the top out. That gives you a nice ring of melted material around the top. So you do that on both ends. Get both ends melted before you start tying your knot. You kind of spin it as you're doing it. It helps from catching it on fire most of the time. Just like that. Now we've got our loop rope with 2 solid ends so that they don't slip through when we tie the knot. Okay, just to take a closer look, this end here is what we started with. This end here is when it's fluffed out, so you want to make sure you get that nice sort of fluffy look on the end. So that's what you started with, that's the fluffed end, and then these are the ends when they're finished. So you can, I don't know if you can see in the video, but there's a nice ring, nice ball on the end of that rope. I'm going to start by tying a loop with this piece of rope here. This is a big long piece of rope, big thick long piece. It's going to be easier to see the actual knot with a big long piece, and you can practice the actual knot tying and not have to worry about a short little piece like this. Okay, so when we start off, we want to get the rope doubled over here. One end will be long, one end will be short, about 1/4 of the length of the entire rope. With that loop end, we're going to go underneath the string, bring it back over, and push both ends through that loop. Just like that. When you pull that tight, that's your first side of the knot for your D-loop. The first side is really easy. The second side takes a little bit more memory. Put your finger in the center of the rope, then you're going to come over the string and around it, coming through that loop that you just created. Go around the rope, under the string, and through that hole that you just created. Pulling that one tight, just like that. That's your D-loop. It looks pretty easy. Try it a few times. Once you get the hang of it, you can do it in your sleep. Okay, now we're going to do it with the real D-loop. So again, we just double it like this, come under, and push both ends through the hole. This is why I suggest it's best to start with a big piece, because the shorter piece is a little bit harder to work with. So we got our first one tied. Then we're going to put our finger in the center of the string, come over through that loop, around the rope, and under the string. Now sometimes, because this is a shorter piece, you really got to pull that first knot tight to get enough rope to make that second knot. Okay, there we go. We got that through there. Then we separate them just a little bit. Now we want to stretch the loop. because it's not finished until it's completely stretched out. If you have a set of D-loop pliers like these ones, these are from World's Best Strings. If you have a set like this, it makes things really easy. You just put that in there and you stretch it out. If you don't have a set of D-loop pliers, a set of needle nose pliers will work as well. If you just put the end of the needle nose in and pry that open, like so. I'm going to use my D-loop pliers here to get this nice and tight. So just like that. See how it stretches out there now? We've got our D-loop tied. I hope that tip helps you. If you ever need to tie a D-loop in the field, now you'll know what you're doing.